Hey guys, it's Carlos. Welcome back to my channel. As you all know, I'm a great teacher, one of the best in my opinion, probably the best in the whole wide world. And today, I'm going to take you on my midlife crisis journey through the French Revolution. Before I get to my midlife crisis, we gotta talk a bit about my background as a person. Born in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm the reason that it's the best city in the whole wide world. You know, home of the chili, and then I hated school so much. You know, good times were just better than school to me, and I am a big-time baller skater. Don't judge, don't wear Thrasher if you're not a skater. As I always tell my students, I was terrible in high school, hated everything about it, and I sucked at math. But really, I did not suck at picking up the chicks. You see, in Algebra 2, I got an F- because kind of fell for this girl real hard, and she made me fail on purpose. Graduated from high school and decided, I guess college was cool pretty much. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I decided to go to Southern Oregon University, home of the Raiders. I got into painting, and I was kind of sick. I always drew myself because I'm the best. And then I was like, dude, what about that girl from Algebra 2? But then one day, I read this book called Ishmael, and I fell in love with history. And that's when I decided to be a history teacher. And I was like, I have to teach kids all my swag, so I did. Went back to my roots in Santa Fe, decided to work at Santa Fe High, and I eventually ended up teaching AP Government and AP Euro. And here's a tea. My 4th and 6th period Euros suck at school. I'm up all night grading their work, and they really are just dumb. And it makes me sad, because I thought I was the best teacher in the world. And here I am saying goodnight to Algebra 2 girl. I fell in love. We got married, by the way. And you know, I'm up grading at 4 a.m. and they're still dumb. We have a French Revolution test coming up and they must do well, but how? So I did the only thing I knew how to do. Pray.
This is God speaking. Check. So what we're gonna do here, Mr. Caldwell, is we're gonna go to the French Revolution, and I'm gonna teach you all the important swag that you need to teach your class to pass this next French Revolution test. Alright, so Carlos, the moderate phase is from 1789 to 1791. This is really good gang stuff. So, basically what happened was, there's all this money in France, and they're just like, what are taxes? So they just were like, nah. So then, we just go, you know how it goes. And basically, since they're not doing anything with those taxes, they're just wasting the money. It's just like, out the window, you know. And so, also, God, me, was just like, no, we're not going to give you some nice plants. So all the plants died, just like Miss Keisha. Well, we had the bread, but we were losing the bread. And so they really wanted to get the bread. And so but most importantly, they upped the prices of the bread. Okay, so now, there's this guy named Louis, you know, classic Louis. And he's just eating all his food with his good homie, Marie Antoinette. And he had the bread. He really did have the bread. So he's just like eating all this food, you know, living large, eating the cake, you know, like Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake. And he's just eating it. So while they're living up with the bread, the lower class, the third estate, as we like to call it here up in heaven, is just dying. Okay, so when everyone's dying, they're like, who are we gonna call? They didn't call Ghostbusters, they called the estate general. So now, okay, so the first estate is, they're the big ballers. Second estate is like medium-sized ballers, and third estate are not ballers. They're just not very, wealthy. So, since the third estate is the most of the people, the weight of the vote is not very much, and so the first and second estate really have all the weight in the vote, so they can outright it. Okay, so we have this important document that is called Oui Oui Baguette Croissant.
But God, what does that even mean?
Well, it directly translates to what is the third estate. It's so fucking funny. Okay, so Oui Oui Baguette Croissant explains that the third estate needs power over the first and second because it is the majority. It's kind of the introduction to the Republic. Okay, so we're in the Estates General meeting, the third estate was, and they're just like, we cannot do this anymore. So you know what they say? They're like, we're going somewhere else, and we're making a new little, constitution. They go out, they're like, nah, and they're trying to start a new constitution. And, Louis is just like, gotcha, you can't do it if I lock you in this door. So you know what they do?
What do they do?
They go to a tennis court, and they make this new constitution.
No, I used to play tennis.
You were probably bad. So we shall meet at this tennis court. And so, you know what they call this?
I have no clue.
Well, that's interesting. They call it the tennis court oath. Pretty self-explanatory, Caldwell. Okay, so basically, the people of Paris hear that Mr. Louis is sending an army down to calm down the riots in Paris. So you, as any person would do, they go to the prisons, they're like, nah! And they get all these weapons so they can defend themselves. So you know what we call this?
I have no clue. God, I'm such a bad teacher.
Something. So do you know what they call that, Mr. Carlos?
What do they call it?
They call it the storming of Bastille. Okay, so they get all these weapons.
Wow, God, they're seizing the Bastille. But where's the bread?
Gotta get this bread. Now there's this new little constitution. You're Caldwell, you're kind of interesting at drawing a constitution. I don't know if that really looks like a constitution. And it's by Lafayette. Liberty, prosperity, and security. That's some interesting and important parts of this. So they're living like Larry, truly. My people are kind of starving, but I feel fine. You know why? It's because you're eating all their food. And so the people are suffering, while people like Louis or Marie Antoinette are really just living large. So they do a fat little compromise, and they're like, you know what? You guys can have your little constitution, but we're still gonna rule you guys. So you know what they call that?
They call that a constitutional monarchy.
You got it, Caldwell. Yeehaw! So this is the gossip right now. Straight fresh from the 18th century. So, guess what the third estate is hearing?
What are they hearing?
That Marie Antoinette is herding grain. What a little biatch she is. Well,
had to do it to them.
They just had to. Sometimes it do be like that. So Marie's just chilling in her palace, like a classic Marie Antoinette. And all these women go to her palace and they're like trying to kill her. And so we call this the Woman's March. And so what they really want to do, what their intention is getting the bread, gaining the grain, and retrieving the rock. On top of getting all this bread, they want to get Marie and Louis to move to Paris.
But God, did Marie Antoinette really say let them eat cake?
Yes, of course, you silly goose. She said that. That is the most known fact. And I was there, and I can tell you, she did indeed say, let them eat cake.
Damn, it really do be like that sometimes. Sorry, Cece and Michaela.
Okay, so Prussia is like, dude, it's time to help a homie out. They say, oh no, Maria's in trouble. Time to send an army. You know how it goes. Okay, so here's what happens. So Miss Antoinette and Mr. Louis, they try to flee. But to do that, they must dress up in disguise. So that's pretty much how it looks. So then the people, they're crossing the border, and they're like, I know who you are. And so they find out, and they're like, ha ha ha, I got you. So now, after they get caught, we're at the radical phase. So the radical phase really goes from 1792 to 1799. And it is probably the most rad phase. So now we have the Jacobins, and they're like, republic equals yay, constitutional monarchy equals nay. Big bad versus big swag. So it's pretty darn radical, and they just had to hit it. So the National Assembly, that was pretty freaking swag. Okay, so the Third Estate created this little gang called the National Assembly. So the National Assembly is pretty freaking radical, but the Jacobins are like hecka radical. But the National Assembly like kills them because the Jacobins are just too radical, and everyone's like, ah! So Louis is like being tried for treason. So we're like, is he treasoning or is he not? And so it was just like a real big question. If he is, they were like, we gotta kill him. If he's not, then it's just, same old. So kill him, yay or nay. And you know what? It gets decided by one vote. One vote.
Wow.
Crazy. That he gets killed. So we send him to this little thing called un guillotine. And the guillotine just snaps his head right off the big old body he has. And so, everyone's like, we must kill more, we must kill more. We just gotta send him to un guillotine. And you know what time it is?
It's killing time.
No, incorrect, actually.
Well.
It is Reign of Terror time! Yeehaw! So, Reign of Terror time means that it's time for a what?
I don't know. What is
a
that?
Reign of Terror dance party! Hit it! So, we're just sending people to the guillotine. So the guillotine was invented by Dr. Joseph Guillotine. Funny thing, they're doing the same thing. So it was painless, humanistic, and it killed everyone equally. So the Third Estate really wanted to kill people that were in the Third Estate versus the First Estate in the same way. So it just snapped your head right off the body, and it was invented in 1789. So Robespierre was a nice little buddy, He was kind of freaking radical, and people like to call him Big Swag Lady Killer, and I know that because I was there as God. So he was like, you know what we need? We need a committee of public safety because the people are dying, and we just need the safe to be public and the public to be safe. So it was kind of a joke on Robespierre because it really didn't work, and everyone was still getting smited, and it was just, it's just not good, but sometimes it really do be like that. So Jean-Paul Marat, aka Biggest Baller Dog, spelled D-A-W-G, was, he was like, I think we need to kill more people, because we need a revolution, and clearly, as anyone would say, to get a revolution, you need to kill people. So that's what he did. By the guillotine. Oh, Thermidorian reaction. Let me tell you what that is. It was in 1794. Okay. Shh. Oh, God. Okay, so the Thermidorian reaction is when the Jacobins were like, it's time to kill people. And so, you know who they killed?
Who did they kill?
Robespierre! So they killed Robespierre and a lot of his followers. It was kind of big L. So R.I.P. Robespierre plus 104 homies. Thumbs down. Am I right, ladies?
Just a thumb god.
Mm-hmm. So I was just kind of sad. Sad boy hours. Okay. Phase 3! So Phase 3 was the Age of Napoleon from 1795 to, guess what? 1815. So there was a little thing called the Royalist Uprising. And so the government killed uprisers. It's kind of an L for those uprisers, but sometimes it do be like that. And so this little man was like, nah, that's not boys. So there was the Directory from 1795 to 1799. It's a new form of government, but it wasn't the best because they had no funds. they had no courts, and it was just like, what you gonna do about that, big boy? So they're like, ha! Prank. So, it was an epic fail. So the Napoleonic Code in 1804 replaced these federal laws. So it replaced these feudal laws, and it was like Napoleon over the law. So the war for Haitian independence happened in 1791 and lasted until, guess what? 1804. It was in Latin America, and it was part of some revolution. So Toussaint Louverture was the leader of the slave revolters, and he was just kind of a big baller. And in 1801, guess what he did? He freed Spanish slaves. In 1803, you know what happened? He was arrested. Okay, so the Dessalines, a little dude, gained independence for Saint Domingue's. So when he did that, he renamed it Haiti.
May freedom forever fly.
So the continental system was in 1806. And he was like, Napoleon was like, stupid poopy England. He said this exactly. It's a quote from him. Stupid poopy England. I don't want them to trade now. #savage. But Napoleon, he's running France, right? He's just balling freaking hard. And instead of just like ruling France and being happy with what he got, he's like, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna get my family members to run the countries around, and they're gonna work under me. So in reality, I run the entire world. Not really the entire, but kind of close. Hey, don't correct me, Caldwell. So he was just like balling hard. Okay, so the invasion of Russia happened in 1812, and so Napoleon takes a much needed vacation to Moscow. You just know how it goes. And so it was really the invasion of Russia, because guess what? He invaded Russia. So all these homies in Russia, the big boys, they kind of died, and it was Napoleon. And it was Napoleon's fault, because you know what? He killed them.
You'll get him next time.
Yeah. So the Battle of Waterloo. Cue the music right now, editor. Cue the music. Okay, so the Battle of Waterloo was Napoleon's final defeat, and he was just a pooper head. So it takes place in the home of the waffles, because it was in Belgium. Belgium. It was in Belgium, home of the waffles. So there's too many English impressions, so they just kind of had to hit him with it. Okay, we're about finished with the French Revolution. Do you have any questions?
I need to teach my students about some foreign responses, or else they're going to totally fail the AP exam.
Yeah, those dumb kids. So the most important foreign response has to do with my big boy homie, Thomas Paine. So let me just tell you a little bit about Thomas Paine. So he was born in England, but he was like, colonies are kind of sick. Okay, so there was a debate in the United States, and they were like, during the American Revolution, they were like, do we need more representation, or do we need more freedom? So just to get some, perspective, let me give you a little time frame. So in 1774, Paine moves to America. 1776, he writes Common Sense. And in 1791, he writes The Rights of Man. But in 1492, quite a little while ago, Columbus sails, guess what? The ocean blue. And in 2018, Mr. Caldwell's Euro students are failing, and he bullies CC. So Common Sense, when he writes Common Sense, he excludes his name in the publication. But really what he's trying to say is he wants freedom over more representation. That's like really kind of settled in the debate. And he wants a democracy/republic over a monarchy. And it's just really big baller town. So the first section is called Origin and Design of Government. Origin and Design of Government goes over elections equal muy bien. So that's really just little thing with the monarchy. Section 2 is called Of Monarchy and Succession. And so, really, the most famous quote from it says, "Of more worth is one honest man to society in the sight of God than all the crown ruffians." So, Section 3 is called Thoughts on the Present State of American Affairs. So, this is saying independence is key for America. So, Section 4, the last section, is called Presentability of America. That says, colonies are balling alone. Like, they don't even need England. So, here's this, like, a colony state flag. America. So, the rights of man more heavily influenced the French Revolution because he basically just said that monarchs are parasites sucking away the wealth of the nation. Okay, so since the rights of man is just such a big baller moment, he goes on the French Congress, which is kind of funny because he's not French. And, okay, so the impact of this is that the French are just really, really fighting for representation. They're kind of done with this whole monarchy thing. Mr. Louis just needs to get out.
Thank you, God, so much for taking me on this emotional and just really great journey through the revolution. I've learned so much, and now I know